A very well-known leader in this country said that any attempt to attack and fight insurgency is an attack on the North. So, you know, when you have such huge political considerations, there are difficulties. I mean, Buhari said that in the newspaper. General Buhari said that any attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the North. So what you do as a government, so you want to attack Boko Haram, at the same time, a leader, a respected person in society, somebody who carries, I mean, the last vote, the last election, over 12 million people voted for him from the North. A man like that, you cannot ignore him. Now he says that if you continue to attack Boko Haram, you are attacking the North. You must be careful.
This is the same man.
You must be careful.
Just a moment,
You
sir.
must be careful.
This is the same man who has also condemned Boko Haram activities. When your own, I think it was the president's special advisor on media, Reuben Abati, wrote a statement acknowledging and even thanking him to the effect that he condemned Boko Haram.
Very good, Marco.
I don't know if you recall the
consistency. What I've just said, you cannot deny that. That's something that happened. Now, if the man, now because election is coming, for the first time, your tongue tie is now loose, and you can now begin to talk like normal people. I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
Did you release a statement to that particular effect? Because a lot of people would not know when that happened.
Which one?
The second one.
It was on Radio Liberty on the 22nd of July. It was on Radio Liberty and was published on the 20th. No, it was on the 21st on Radio Liberty. It was published this day, front page of this day by a newspaper. I'm not talking from this is fact. You can go.
Well,
can go and check it.
All right, that is true. Everything you just had that he said happened, and the president in question the politician in question later turned out to become the president of Nigeria. So yes, there is a politician in Nigeria that said that an attack on Boko Haram is an attack on northern Nigeria. And the person who made that statement later went on to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I'm talking about none other than Muhammadu Buhari, late Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria. He was president for 8 years. He ruled for 2 terms. He contested election, won in, I think, 2015, I'm not sure, and then contested again and won. So he completed his 2 terms, and that was somebody who got overwhelming, in fact, the vast majority of the Muslim vote in Nigeria. And that person was saying, as far back as when this clip was, that's 2013, as far back as that time, this person was saying that an attack on Muslims is an attack. I mean, an attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the entire North. But yeah, this is me getting ahead of myself. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching us from wherever you are watching us from across the globe. I am your friendly, reliable, trusted Nigerian prince. And everything I'm going to tell you here is 100% true as far as I know it to be. So I'm going to tell you what I know to be true. Now, I may not be 100% correct, but I'm always close. And I welcome you to listen to me, learn, disagree if you want to. You can also air your disagreements in the live chat. Sometimes I take note of them, sometimes I don't. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic live stream. And I hope you're ready. You have your popcorn, you have your Pepsi, I'm developing quite the reputation at the moment. So I have quite the reputation for now hosting long live streams. And here is here is somebody already pointing it out, like telling Jax who is present with us today. Thank you, Jax, for joining us. But John is telling her that yesterday's live stream was almost 5 hours. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. It was 3 hours and something, almost 4 hours, but not 5. Come on. But one day we'll do 5 anyway. But I'm building quite that reputation of just going. Very soon I'll be Destiny or I'll be Hassan Piker, and that is the goal, I guess. But God is with us. I will see how it goes today. But I don't intend to stay for long. My wife has warned me that I should not be doing these long live streams for my own mental health. That I should not be engaging in this kind of long live streams. Also, I can already see the super chats that are flooding in. Thank you guys so much. I already see it and I'm already like, whoa, I'm done. I should just end this live stream right now. We are done. Go home. You know, like I always say in all my previous live streams, I go live so that people can send me money. It's not just to entertain and inform you guys, it's to get money. And I'm already seeing the super chats and I'm really appreciative of all of them. But before I start reading them, I want to remind all of us again, please smash the like button. If you've not yet smashed that like button, destroy it, okay? Commit jihad on the like button. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to the channel. And ring the notification bell. We have a lot of things to talk about today. With regards to the condition of Christians in Nigeria, we are going to discuss the updates on what is happening and how Nigerian politicians are responding to the accusation, the legitimate, valid, fact-based accusation, and how they are just exposing themselves essentially. I can see King of Current in the comments, and bro, how are you? It's been a while. It's been a night. I've been doing well, doing very well, and yes, I saw what Khan said, and we are going to be discussing that. Part of what we are going to be talking about is what Khan said. So you may not know what Khan is. Khan is the Christian Association of Nigeria, and an association that has decided to be a disgrace. So we are going to be looking at that. Yes, I will be talking about that. And yes, King of Current, I'm happy to see you in the chat. All right, guys, please, again, smash the like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and share this link, share this to everyone, okay? We are live and we are ready to rumble, and we are going to be discussing very, very important stuff, okay? So please, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. And before we jump into that, let me acknowledge the super chats and or whatnot. This is from Microfuge. Thank you so much for the £10. So is that €10? I think that's £10. Thank you for the £10 super sticker. I really appreciate that. This is from Jose. Free Nigeria. Yes, free Nigeria from the shackles of jihadis, from the shackles of Boko Haram, from the shackles of an incompetent government. Yes. So, and anyways, let's get straight into it, like, guys. Let's get straight into it. So yeah, you can see from the title of the video, or how I titled the video, is that the pressure is increasing on the Nigerian government and their stooges on social media and in the press, doing everything they can to spin the reports that is coming out and what people are saying, to kind of downplay what is going on, deny it. In fact, every attempt we've seen recently from the government and from their stooges in the press and in social media is to essentially downplay and mischaracterize what is going on in northern Nigeria. And they've used so many tactics. In fact, their recent one is to get the Christian Association of Nigeria to go out and say that there is no genocide in Nigeria. So yes, the highest Christian association in Nigeria, the Christian Association of Nigeria, has put out a statement saying that there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Now, why so many people may find that compelling, before you run along and be like, or before anybody in the West will be like, you see, a Christian association has come out to say that there is no genocide in Nigeria. I will tell you the circumstance upon which that statement was made, what happened before the statement was made, and why we have every reason to believe that these people were paid by the government to make that statement, or at least pressured or influenced by the government to say that. And on top of that, on top of that, we are going to see examples, right? We are going to see examples of this same organization in the past admitting that there is a Christian genocide. That's the crazy thing you're going to see in today's live stream, especially in today's live stream. You're going to see people who in the past have said, oh, there is no Christian genocide, or people who presently are saying there is no Christian genocide. We are going to see reports from them and statements from them in the past claiming and admitting that yes, there is indeed a targeted massacre of Christians in northern Nigeria. I mean, let's start with let's start with the current president of Nigeria and what he had to say about what's going on in northern Nigeria. Let's start with that. I think that is a very good place to start and to remind ourselves of what we are dealing with here. Here is a tweet from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Here is it's now a very famous tweet that is now circulating everywhere this conversation is being had, and it's important for everyone to see it. Let me share my screen. So here, this is a message from Bola Ahmed Tinubu as far back as 2014. This is the president. This is the same person who wants us now to be like, oh, who wants to claim now? This is the person who wants to claim today that there is actually no attack on Christians. Okay, Christians are not being massacred. None of that is going on. That's what people like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president of Nigeria, wants us to believe. He wants us to believe that there is no targeted attack on Christians. But here he is in 2014 saying, the slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. Now, he was making this statement when Jonathan was in office, okay? So for those who may not understand, it's kind of like you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans. So in Nigeria, we have two major political parties. We have, now it's kind of becoming three major political parties, but for the most of the country's recent history, since the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, we've had two major parties. We've had the PDP and APC. So the PDP stands for the People's Democratic Party, and the APC stands for Alliance for Progressive Change. Yeah, APC, Alliance for Progressive Change, and the People's Democratic Party. So those used to be the two major political parties in Nigeria. Now, the PDP since 1999 has been in power. So since 1999, they had Obasanjo. He ruled for 2 terms. That was for 8 years. You had Buhari. He ruled for like 3 years, and then he was sick, and then he passed away. And then you had Yaradua. You had Yaradua. He ruled for like 2.5 years, and then he passed away sadly. And then he was replaced with his vice president took over. That's Goodluck Jonathan. That's the person that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is criticizing in this tweet. So that is the person he was criticizing in the tweet. And that person took over from Yaradua, and that person later ran for president and won, but he led for just 1 term. So this is what you need to understand. So when Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in the opposition party, he wasn't in power, and he was criticizing the government in power, it was okay to admit that there is indeed the genocide of Christians. Like, he didn't have a problem with admitting that. He would even tweet about it, and then APC was making a huge deal about the insurgency in the north and how, in fact, they will spin it. However, they will say it is Christians that are being targeted. They will make the claim over and over again. And they were making this claim, and they were making this claim back then. But now, in fact, some of them even made it as in some people in the government made the claim even while Buhari was in power. Like somebody who was from part of the current administration at that time. That is the APC, the Alliance for Progressive Change. Muhammadu Buhari, their first candidate to win an election. When he ruled, for the 8th year of his rule, there were many people, even in his administration, that would admit that Christians were being targeted. And we're going to see so many of them. They would admit it. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Some as far back as 2024, we are admitting that, yes, there is a targeted a massacre of Christians, and that this is done primarily against Christians in the north. That they were admitting it and admitting it vehemently. But all of a sudden, now that the world is looking at Nigeria, and now that the United States is seeking to, impose sanctions and what have you, and put Nigeria on a particular watch list or so, now that the US is planning to do that, and Ted Cruz and other senators and representatives in the United States and Canada are talking about it. Now that the pressure is on the government, the current administration that is, they are doing everything that they can to deny something that they've all said in the past. Something that they've all said in the past. They are now denying it. The recent attack is to blame it on Israel. Yeah, that's what they are doing now. They are blaming it on Israel. I will show you an example of them just blaming it on Israel, claiming that this is Israel trying to trying to distract the world from what is going on in Palestine. This is Bashir Ahmed. Now, many people may not know this, but Bashir Ahmed is somebody who has worked for the administration. He's a prominent part of both the Buhari administration and the Tinubu administration, and this is somebody who will do anything to defend the current administration. And he's very close. He's part of what you would call the elite class in Nigeria, the political elite class in Nigeria, those affiliated with the current administration. And here is what he has to say. He said, as long as Israel continues paying up to 7,000 plus per social media posts to influencers, we will keep seeing this wave of dangerous propaganda against Nigeria and other countries that have boldly stood against Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza. So according to Bashir Ahmed, who is like a stooge of the current administration, this is the result of Israel paying $7,000 per post, per social media post to influencers. So apparently people like myself, we are getting $7,000 per post, per social media post. If this is true, Israel, you owe me something, man. Israel, you owe me something. Where is my $7,000 per post? How many posts have I made? How many videos have I made talking about this? This is going to be this is going to be video number 3 for me. So you owe me like 7 times 3. That's $21,000 US. When am I going to get that, Israel? I keep begging people on my on my live chat to send me money. Meanwhile, Israel is owing me. Israel, please pay up, okay? Pay up, because I've been told that I'm being paid, but I'm not seeing any money yet. So according to people like Bashir Ahmed, that's what is going on. And he's not alone. There is this woman, Rukaya. She's also somebody who works in the current administration. And she too has something to say. Where is Rukaya's? All right, here is Rukaya. No, not this one. Yes, Rukaya, letting us know that this is just shameless attack from Zionists trying to undermine the plight of the Palestinians. So here is Ted Cruz on the 3rd of October saying that officials in Nigeria are ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians by Islamist jihadists. You know, we looked at this tweet on the last time I spoke about this, and we showed how Ted Cruz is actually correct 100%, and everything he's saying is accurate 100%. And we went through all the facts. You can go and watch that live stream. Went through everything to demonstrate just how accurate Ted Cruz is and how his post here is correct. You know, more accurate than we've had from any other government official or senator or congressperson in the United States or Canada. This first statement here, this first sentence is very accurate, a very accurate description of what is happening in northern Nigeria. It says, officials in Nigeria are ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians by Islamist jihadists. So he went on to say other things, and also he left this link to a Reuters article. And Rukaya responded by saying, your plans won't work. Imagine lending your voice to spread falsehood and being arrogant about it. There is no such thing as a mass murder of Christians in Nigeria. I wonder where you get your information from. Nigeria is peaceful and we coexist regardless of tribe or religion. All this energy because our government spoke out against your silence while innocent people are being brutally massacred by your so-called Jewish babies. You should at least have some shame, Senator. This malicious selective campaign won't succeed. Hashtag Free Palestine. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Before I go on, because let me just acknowledge some other wonderful things that have been happening in the live chat. I want to appreciate King of Current, for becoming a, member of the channel. And I also want to thank you for gifting 5 Nigerian Perspective membership. And I also want to thank my number one fan, Jazz, my sister in Christ, for also gifting 15, okay, not gifting, but becoming a member for 15 months. She said 30 Christians beheaded in Mozambique yesterday. Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, I can't cover that because I'm covering Nigeria. But yeah, probably tomorrow, and I'll look about, maybe not tomorrow, but subsequently down the week, we'll talk about massacres by jihadists in other parts of the African continent, other states, especially in Mozambique, especially in the Congo. Right? So we are going to look at that as well. All right, so just remember this person, Rukaya, and what she just said. And I want to show you something from Rukaya also that you'll find very interesting about this amazing politician who really cares about the suffering and the plight of the average individual, whether it is in Nigeria or whether it is in wherever it is. Now, this is somebody who just told the senator that there is peace in Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria is a very peaceful country. There is, we coexist. Christians and Muslims, we are just living side by side, holding hands together and singing Kumbaya, essentially. But here she is saying something that is like straight out of the playbook of Boko Haram. And the reason why she's saying it, she's re-echoing the same sentiment that you'll find from the average Boko Haram terrorist, is because they are both operating from the same ideology. They are both using the same manual, which is the Quran. Here's what she said. She said, Western education has done more harm than good to our society. Let me read that first sentence again. Western education has done more harm than good to our society. Imagine somebody who is an official. This is somebody who is a special advisor to what is she now? She's a special advisor to a senator in Nigeria. A special advisor. This is somebody who's working for the government, working for the current administration, and working for somebody who is in the Senate. And she's saying that Western education has done more harm than good to our society. This is the same sentiment you find from Boko Haram. The name itself, Boko Haram, means book is haram, and it is trying to echo the sentiment of the inferiority and the harm and danger of Western education. And here you have somebody who got into the position she got into because she was able to tolerate a little bit or accept a little bit of Western education. And here she is saying Western education has done more harm than good to our society. That's the reason some miscreants will commit blasphemy. So any person who says something that offends the Muslim sensibilities about Muhammad, anybody who, for example, says that Muhammad is a pedophile, a warlord, a child rapist, what else? That he had a very wonderful encounter with 30 men of Al-Zut in a very cold Arabian desert. Anyone who says anything like that, anyone who just accurately describes the great prophet of Islam and portrays him exactly how he should be seen, something that Muslims would otherwise not have any problem with, except when it is brought out in public, or somebody who just says outrightly that Muhammad is the most obvious false prophet. Anybody who says anything like that is a miscreant. And is committing blasphemy, and some Muslims will defend them. So Muslims defending people who commit acts of blasphemy and saying essentially that they should not be killed, they should not be executed. People saying that are doing so because of the influence of Western educations. Muslims trying to defend people who have committed acts of blasphemy against the Prophet of Islam. Muslims who do that are doing that because they've been infected by Western education. And this is in April 2020. This is around the time when we are hearing about Deborah Yakubu and people, and how she was brutally killed. And her response at that time was not to condemn the killing, was not to point out that this was barbaric and this should not have happened, but to call out Muslims who we are trying to defend the right and the right of life, the right to life that Deborah Yakubu should have enjoyed, and the fact that she should not have been killed senselessly by pious Muslims, essentially. So yeah, that is her response. Or maybe it isn't. Let me be sure. But I know definitely that this was done in response to Yeah, it was done in response to somebody being executed for blasphemy. No, it wasn't. I'm correct. Yeah, this was 2020. Yes, this was Deborah Yakubu. Anyway, so here she is again in 2022. So the first tweet we saw was from 2020. This one is from 2022, and she's talking about somebody who just got the death sentence for blasphemy against the noble prophet, the noble prophet indeed. And he's saying that this is a huge achievement for the governor of Kano State, that is Nganduje, the former governor of Kano State. And then she ends it with Allahu Akbar. And then she followed up by saying, I knew he committed blasphemy, but didn't know exactly what he said. So when she posted this tweet about somebody who was given the death penalty for blasphemy, she didn't even know what the person said. She didn't even know what the whole accusation is about. And this is how the average Muslim in the North behave. Like, they don't even know why somebody is accused of blasphemy. They don't know what the person said, but they're already picking up stones and looking for fire to, just lynch the person in public. That is how they behave. And this person wants Ted Cruz to know, okay? She wants Ted Cruz to know that, Christians and Muslims in the North live peacefully side by side each other. And this is the kind of peace that she's talking about. Speaking of Bashir Ahmed, for example, this very great guy who clearly is alarmed that the Zionist Jews are paying people $7,000 per social media post to push dangerous propaganda against Nigeria. Here is this person. Here is my folder on Bashir. I have folder for everybody. Here is Bashir Ahmed. Here is another tweet from Bashir Ahmed. I want to read all the things that Bashir Ahmed had to say. He said, when I said that Christian leaders in this country should be at the forefront of debunking the outright lie of Christian persecution in Nigeria, it was never because I felt Islam, my religion, is being accused of atrocities. Rather, I said it because I sincerely believe that as Nigerians, regardless of faith, we must not allow outsiders to exploit our differences and create further pain and suffering in this our beloved country. So yes, when the world is paying attention to what is happening in Nigeria and they want to do something to prevent it from happening, especially when it is atrocious acts against Christians, when the world is noticing that and they want to do something to stop it, that is a threat to Nigeria, a threat to our unity, a threat, an attempt to exploit our differences to create further pain and suffering, to our beloved country, essentially. There is no talk about whether it is true. There is no talk about whether it is valid. There is no talk about, no, it is just propaganda and it is false, essentially. That is Bashir Ahmed's approach. And then he said, unfortunately, the propaganda is now gaining international traction because the right voices have not stood up to firmly challenge these dangerous lies being circulated by obvious paid influencers. This morning, I came across a post by the U.S. Senator Ted Budd calling the U.S. government to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Similarly, Canadian MP Andrew, I don't know his surname, has taken the same issue to the Canadian Parliament. Why the Nigerian government has officially addressed and refuted these baseless accusations. Baseless, okay. That's what we are calling it now, baseless accusations. The question remains, why are those who should be speaking? The question remains, why are those who should be speaking are not speaking? Oh, Jesus Christ. I guess he spent more time learning how to read the Quran than how to write in English. Because he's supposed to say, why are those who are not speaking? Why are those who should be speaking not speaking? But of course. Anyway, why are they leaving room for outsiders to misrepresent our reality? This propaganda, if left unchallenged, will not harm only Muslims. It will hurt the entire country. And truthfully, both we Muslims and Christians in this country know that there is no Christian persecution going on. Ah, really? Really, Bashir Ahmed? Christians and Muslims know that there is no Christian persecution going on. Powerful. As the Western world is trying hard to paint, We may have challenges as a nation, but they are not about one religion hunting down another. Here I commend Mr. Femi Fani-Kayode and Reno Omokri and this person and many others for boldly refusing to be silent, even while facing heavy attacks and insult for their stance. So here he's commending people like Femi Fani-Kayode for speaking out. Now, I have not seen any of Fani-Kayode's speaking out, but it will be interesting to see those. And now I have not even seen any of Reno Omokri. Now, these are like popular figures in Nigeria. Now, many of you will be seeing these names and wondering who are these people, but they are prominent figures in Nigeria. Just know that. But I want to really see what they have been saying. I have not, none of their statements has come to my notice, but I want to see what Femi Fani-Kayode has been saying. Okay, here is one of them. He said, the fiction of Christian genocide and the conspiracy against Nigeria. All right. I listened attentively to the words of Bill Maher and CNN Van Jones, who have both accused Nigeria of indulging in Christian genocide and pondered on them deeply. If as a Nigerian, their words and narrative do not concern you or scare you, then as real Donald Trump would say, you cannot be a very bright bulb. Okay, interesting. When one adds their words to the recent contribution of Senator Ted Cruz, the greatest defender of Israel and advocate for Christian Zionism in the American Senate, where he accused Nigeria of the same and where he said that he was introducing a bill in the Senate to do something about it and protect Christians in Nigeria, then you will get an even closer picture of what is unfolding and the horrendous agenda those behind it have in store for us. To add to that is the alarming resolution passed 2 days ago by the Canadian Parliament that Nigeria is one of the most dangerous places in the world for Christians to live, and that Christians are targeted and slaughtered here all over the country on a daily basis. The first question that needs to be answered is, since when have the Americans and the West generally cared about anyone but themselves? Least of all, the Christians in our country. I don't care. That is not Fani-Kayode, that is not an important question. I don't care. I don't care if the West have ever cared about anyone other than themselves. It doesn't bother me. I don't care what their past behavior is. I don't care. I do not care. How come they have suddenly started mounting the fake battle cry and have this fake battle cry? And how come the same rhetoric is suddenly coming out of places like the Canadian Parliament and other Western capitals? The sooner those in power in Nigeria and the Nigerian people themselves get a clear grasp of what is really going on, the better. More importantly, we need to do something to counter the narrative and need to do it fast. This is because it is spreading like wildfire all over the world, and sadly people are buying into it. The truth is that the Americans, their allies, and their local collaborators are carefully and craftily preparing the ground for a religious war in our country, and they want us to tear ourselves apart. Oh, really? Okay, this is... Jesus Christ. Christians are being slaughtered. Muslims, for like Boko Haram, have declared a religious war as far back as 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. I don't know which of this year in particular. They've already declared a war, a religious war. That has already been in place, right? But it is Westerners paying attention to this that will result in a religious war. So all this statement that is going on is what is going to spark a religious war in Nigeria. That's what these people want us to believe. Just how ridiculous these people are is outstanding. I found it really outstanding. This is what's called outstanding stupidity, outstanding idiocy. But it continues. The truth is that, okay. There can be no doubt that Christians have been targeted and killed in Nigeria in huge numbers by Islamic terrorists. Wow, okay, he admits. Look at that. A rare moment of truth. Fani-Kayode admits that yes, Christians have been targeted and killed in Nigeria in huge numbers by Islamic terrorists, whether they be Boko Haram or ISWAP, or over the last 14 years. But it is also a fact that as many Muslims have been targeted and killed, that is also a fact that as many Muslims have also been targeted and killed by the same Islamist terrorists over the same period of time. You see, Fani-Kayode, maybe you don't understand what we are saying. When Islamists kill Muslims, Christians, it is targeted. They wanted to kill Christians. When they kill Muslims, they wanted to kill apostates. Why don't you just say that? They are killing Muslims because they're trying to kill apostates. Look, when Hamas broke the fence and went into Israel and slaughtered 1,200 people, part of the people they slaughtered two Africans. I've forgotten the nation that they are from, but two Africans were slaughtered. They found themselves there, and they found themselves under the knife of Boko Haram, or the gun of Boko Haram, not Boko Haram, of Hamas. Now, imagine that I come out and I say, October 7 was not Hamas targeting Jews and wanting to kill as many Jews as possible. No. I mean, look at the two Africans that were killed. Look at these two Africans that were killed. Don't you see? They just went out and were just killing anybody. It wasn't really targeted at Jews. A sensible person will tell me, no. The reason why they killed those two is because they found themselves in the wrong place. Those were not the primary target. The primary target are Jews. The same thing with Boko Haram. Yes, they kill Muslims, but that's not their primary target. Their primary target are Christians. And you know this because you've spoken about it in the past. And we are going to look at it shortly, but let's finish your rambling here because, oh my goodness, this is too long, but we'll try. Firstly, the terrorists have, there are 2 points that need to be made and properly understood. Firstly, the terrorists have plagued our nation and slaughtered our people, both Christian and Muslim, for the past 14 years. Firstly, the terrorists that have plagued our nation and slaughtered our people, both Christians and Muslims, for the past 14 years, we are established, armed, funded, and protected by the very same Americans and their Western and Israeli allies that are crying more than the bereaved today. Guys, you may not know this, but their Israeli... Yes, Boko Haram was funded by Nigeria, by America and the West and Israel as well. Yeah, these are people that funded Boko Haram. These are people that gave Boko Haram guns. Oh, these people are unbelievable. What still, they refuse to sell arms to us or allow us to buy arms from anywhere in our attempt to resist the terrorists ourselves. Remember that. Okay, remember that there's a reason why they will not give you that, because people end up giving it to Boko Haram. But that's by the way. In fact, you will see some news story that will make you understand why the US will not give the Nigerian army these ammunitions and that they are asking for. You will hear stories of Boko Haram going to military bases, attacking a military base, killing soldiers, taking over that military base, and taking over the weapons that are there. So imagine that the United States give Nigeria some of their sophisticated weapons, and then those weapons fall into the hand of Boko Haram when they take over a military base. Imagine that. And one of the reasons they will not even give you those ammunitions is that they know you don't have the will to fight Boko Haram. But of course, they even refused to designate Boko Haram as a terrorist organization for many years and did not do so until it suited their purpose. Okay, they did not. What purpose? The second point to grasp is that the reason they are not all talking about Nigeria and what they have labeled as Christian genocide is not because they love Nigeria or care about Nigerian Christians, but because they want to shift the world attention from Gaza and to focus it on Nigeria. Yeah, seriously, that's why. They also want to punish us for taking a bold stand at the United Nations against the genocide that the Israelis have unleashed on Gaza, which they are supporting and funding. Okay, so when Boko Haram target Christians, that's not a genocide. But when Israel prosecute a war in Gaza to eliminate Hamas, that is a genocide. All right, very interesting. Standing up for humanity, that is our crime. And I, for one, as a Nigerian, make no apology for it. In my view, it was indeed our proudest moment and finest hour when our vice president stood before the world at the United Nations and boldly proclaimed that we were against the genocide that was being unleashed on the Palestinian people, condemning what was going on in Gaza and insisted on a two-state solution to resolve the conflict. Oh, that was your proudest moment. Interesting. But IPOB will clamor to eternity for a Biafran state, and it will not be granted them. Instead, IPOB leaders will get arrested and detained. Even after there is a court order for them to be released, they will not be released. The government will violate court orders to release IPOB leaders and keep them in prison for indefinitely, without any cause, for no reason. And despite what is happening in Nigeria, your vice president didn't go there to go to the UN to voice that out. He went there to talk about Gaza, talk about Palestine, and that was your proudest moment. Unlike others, we do not sit on the fence or buckle, and sadly, we are now paying the price for it. Yes, the Nigerian government is the victim here. Okay, the Nigerian government that has been complicit in the insecurity issue in the country, they are the victims. Fani Kayode, you are a very despicable, sad human being. Let me just show you something from Fani Kayode, the very man who just said this thing. This is one interesting thing about them. You don't even need to bring out facts to refute what they are saying. You just need to pull up things that they have said in the past. That is all you need to do. You just need to pull up what Fani Kayode said. This is Fani Kayode. This is Fani Kayode, guys. I want you to read this tweet from 2018. This is Fani Kayode, the same Fani Kayode who is proud of Nigeria and proud of what Nigeria was doing at the UNGA. This is the same Fani Kayode, the same Fani Kayode that is defending the Nigerian government right now. This is the same Femi Fani Kayode, and this is what he had to say in 2018. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude with the armed bandits that kill Nigerians. He was quoting from General Danjuma. Can anyone dispute this? What Christians are suffering at the hand of the Fulani in Nigeria today is similar to what the Jews suffered in Hitler's Nazi Germany. Fani Kayode, do you remember this tweet, Fani Kayode? Let me read it again for you, Fani Kayode. Can anyone dispute this, Fani Kayode? Can anyone dispute this? What Christians are suffering at the hand of the Fulanis in Nigeria today is similar to what the Jews suffered in Hitler's Nazi Germany. You wrote that in 2018. What happened, Fani Kayode? What happened? I will tell you what happened. Tinubu, your guy, your man, became president. This is one thing about Nigeria. You need to understand about Nigerian politics. Whenever you are not in power in Nigeria, you are the oppositions. All of a sudden, you have the ability to say the truth. Okay? Opposition parties in Nigeria, they have this clarity that no other person in this world can get about issues in Nigeria. They know what the problem is, and they will point it out. But the moment they get into power, all of a sudden, everything that they are criticizing disappears. It suddenly was not happening. Fani Kayode, were you paid by Ted Cruz to make this tweet in 2018? Did Israel manipulate you to make this tweet in 2018? This is you in 2018. This is what you said. You are essentially admitting in this tweet that Christians are being genocided by Fulanis. You didn't even mention Boko Haram. Fani Kayode, you didn't even mention Boko Haram. You mentioned Fulanis and what they are doing to Christians in northern Nigeria. You said what they are doing to Christians is similar to what Hitler did in Nazi Germany. Fani Kayode, do you remember that? You know one thing I like about you, Fani Kayode, is your eloquence. I love your eloquence. There's nobody that puts it better than Fani Kayode. Just imagine the greatness of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even need to go and pull up. This article said that 50,000 Christians have been killed. No, I just need to find their old tweets. All of them. All of them that are now staunch defenders of the current administration and denying the genocide, all of them have things like this from their past tweets. Some 2 years ago, some 3 years ago, some 4 years ago, some 5 years ago, they were admitting this. They were not ashamed to call it out. Because their guy was not in office. The moment their guy is in office, all of a sudden, they now have this clear vision. They're now seeing things clearly. Isn't it miraculous? Fani Kayode, what happened to you? What happened in 2018 and what is happening now? What is the difference? Has the Fulani attack, has it reduced or has it increased? Fani Kayode, 7,000 Christians have been killed this year alone. Fani Kayode, is it true or is it false? And most of those killings are not from Boko Haram. They are from Fulanis. Last year, over 12,000. What happened in 2018 that is different from what is happening now? Fani Kayode. So you can see the greatness of my country, ladies and gentlemen. You can just see the greatness of this great country. You can see that our leaders are extraordinary people, very extraordinary. Okay, you don't love them enough. I'm telling you, you don't love these people enough. These people are beloved. Okay, these people are people who stand up for the truth. These are people who speak up for what is right. You know, these are like brilliant, brave, courageous politicians and leaders. All right. Let's look at what Omokri has to say. Reno Omokri. This is also another. Here is Reno giving a 2 minutes this is saying, and here is the title. No, Senator Ted Cruz, Nigeria officials are not facilitating genocide against Christians. All right, let's listen to Reno Omokri and what he has to say.
I've recently seen the statements by Senator Ted Cruz alleging that there is a Christian genocide which is being aided by Nigerian officials. Now, I don't know if Senator Ted Cruz knows this, but the head of the Nigerian army, the chief of army staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, is a Christian. The head of the Nigerian...
It doesn't matter if he's a Christian, if he's a Jew. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's a... This is very insignificant, Omokri. Reno, this is not... it doesn't matter what... see, this is the same thing they did during the Biafran War. When the Biafran government said Muslims are trying to kill us, they're trying to exterminate us, they were like, oh, but the president is a Christian. It doesn't matter who the head of the chief of whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that our president, a Muslim man, is banging a Nigerian pastor. It doesn't matter.
Police, Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, is another Christian. Now, these are the two foremost bodies in Nigeria that are security agencies, the army and the police. Now, does it make sense that two Christians will be officially aiding a genocide against Christians? No, common sense says no.
Yes, it's possible, but maybe not them. You're making it look like the only officials in Nigeria is the two officials you just mentioned. Those are the only two people that will be aiding and facilitating terrorism in Nigeria. Like for you, those are the only two. You didn't mention the Senate. You didn't mention soldiers who are in the field themselves. You didn't mention people who are practically involved. I mean, we just read from your friend Omok. Let's read it again. You know, for people who may still, you know, we just read from Femi Fani Kayode saying that the Nigerian armed forces are not neutral. They collude with the armed bandits that kill Nigerians. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? They are in collusion. They are colluding. It's not saying it's from the higher ups. It may be from. I mean, do you remember when Omokri? Do you remember? Maybe you don't. But do you remember when? What's the name of this guy? What's the name of this Muslim preacher from India? Guys in the comment, help me remember the name of this Muslim preacher from India. Zakir Naik. Or I don't know how his name is pronounced. But do you remember that guy when he came to Nigeria and he called the Nigerian army the Islamic army? Do you remember that? Or did you just you forgot it because now you want to defend your guy?
What's happening in Nigeria is that in the northeast, we've got what the senator calls Boko Haram, but which is in reality the Islamic State in the West African province. Now, what they want is an Islamic state. So they're fighting the Nigerian state. They don't care if you're a Muslim or if you're Christian. They're fighting the Nigerian state because the Nigerian state is a secular state.
Omokri. I don't know if you believe in God, Omokri, but come on. I don't know if you believe in God, but this level of lying is too much. To say that Boko Haram does not target Christians is in fact, you will see that Omokri himself know that he's lying, but let him just keep talking. I'm interrupting him too much.
It's not a Muslim country. It's not a Christian country. It's a secular country. Nigeria is the largest Islamo-Christian nation on earth.
Nigeria is a secular country according to the constitution, but in practice it is not. We have a religious Islamic state within the secular country. You have 12 states. I don't understand how you can call Nigeria a secular country when 12 states practice Sharia law. 12 states in the country practice. It is not unofficial practice, official practice. They officially practice Sharia law. How can 12 states officially practice Sharia law and yet you are saying, oh, Nigeria is a secular country? Really, it is? It is?
So that's what they're doing. Now, in the northwest of the country, you've got bandits, and those are opportunistic criminals. They are attacking people indiscriminately.
They're not opportunistic criminals, Ren or Mokri. They are Islamists. You know what I like about these opportunistic criminals is when they shout Allahu Akbar. That's the powerful part about these opportunistic criminals that kidnap pastors and attack churches and burn them down. These are opportunistic criminals. That's Reno or Mokri's description.
To get ransoms from kidnaps, to get people to pay them protection money. And sadly,
I love Reno, pause, Reno. You said they want people to pay them what? Reno, say it again, please. Reno, say it again. I love what you just said. Say it again, Reno.
And those are opportunistic criminals. They are attacking people indiscriminately to get ransoms from kidnaps, to get people to pay them protection money.
To get people to pay them protection money, aka jizya. Reno. Opportunistic criminals are asking for jizya. Reno.
And sadly, most of the people that they're doing this to are Muslims. And then you come to the north central of the country, what's called the Middle Belt, and you have an ancient dispute between herders and farmers.
Ancient dispute between herders and farmers. When did this start? 7 centuries ago, in the 7th century. Is that when this ancient dispute between herders? What is happening in Benue State has not happened. It's not something that is ancient history of herders and farmers. That is not true, Reno. Reno, the Fulanis and the headsmen attacking people in Benue are not even from Nigeria. They don't have a history of being in this country. And Reno, you know this. Why are you lying?
Now, in colonial era, the British set up what they call the Rural Grazing Area, RUGA, But then in post-colonial Nigeria, because of urban-rural drift and modernity, these rurals were taken over by farms, by residences and businesses. And so it's exacerbated the crisis between the herders and the farmers. So there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria. But maybe I'm lying. I encourage Senator Ted Cruz to come to Nigeria, visit Nigeria, go to the Christian Association of Nigeria, not the Nigerian government, but the Christian Association of Nigeria. Let them...
Yeah, go to the people we've paid, people we've influenced. Go to them. Those are the people you should go to. Go to the people we tell you to go to. Those are the ones that will corroborate everything I've just said to you. Not the pastors that are speaking out, not the ones that have been talking about this, not the organizations that have been tracking it. Go to the ones we've paid, okay? Go there. Don't go on the ground, okay? Don't go to communities that have been raised down by these Islamists. Don't go to Benue State and ask the people there what is going on. No, come to the leaders we've selected. You understand? The people we've endorsed, our mouthpieces. Come to them and ask them what is going on, and they will corroborate what I've just told you.
Take you round to these places, talk to people, talk to victims, and then you'll find out that this is not a Christian genocide. This is an attack against the Nigerian state in some cases, and then just pure criminalistic behavior by opportunistic.
All right, Reno, we've had everything you have to say. Now, let's listen to Reno from the past. Now we are listening to Reno in the present, but let's listen to Reno Omokri from the past. This is Reno Omokri in 2017. Their voice is so loud, condemning injustice against Muslims in the USA, yet very silent in condemning the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. Reno. This is Reno Omokri from 2017. I guess the genocide ended in 2017. You know, it ended in January. Opposition. It is always in this country. It is sweet to be opposition. To be in the opposition is very lovely. Okay, to be the. Reno, what happened? Reno, what changed? Reno, what changed? Now that you have, it's like Reno had greater insight. You know, his eyes has been opened. He has changed his perspective. Reno has a change of heart. Everything now is clear to him. Now that his guy is in power, he's having 2020 vision. He's clear. Everything is clear to him. Now he can break everything down and make you understand exactly what is going on. But in 2017, he was operating as an Israeli agent. They paid him $7,000 plus to post this. And this is what he said. Their voice is so loud, condemning injustice against Muslims in the United States, yet very silent in condemning genocide of Christians in Nigeria. In 2017, he will admit that there was a genocide of Nigerians. But in 2025, things have changed because his guy is in power. Alhamdulillah. So you can see what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. Don't allow these people to deceive you. Don't allow them to deceive you. But before we proceed, let me acknowledge the super chats that I've been receiving. I mean, guys, you guys are blowing my mind. Thank you so much. I want to thank Shaka Zulu. Thank you for the 150 shekels. Okay, this is the Zionists are paying me. This is this is me getting that 700,000 US dollars. They are sending it in bits, but you can clearly see what is going on. Okay, this is why I post this. Thank you for calling me a man of God. I really appreciate that. And you also sent another one again. Another 150 shekels. I appreciate it. Save Nigeria. What power one day. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, you're welcome. And I also want to science of telepathic UFO beings said, keep reporting. I will always keep doing that. All right, moving on to let's look at CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria, and what they had to say. You know, CAN is the Christian Association of Nigeria should be ashamed of themselves, but I don't think shame is something that they have the ability to feel. That's the problem with the Christian Association of Nigeria. And you should know that the Christian Association of Nigeria is the Christian political wing of the government, essentially. And so many times, especially if it's a government that they like, they're going to play according to the tune that they detect. And before we look at what Khan said, you have to know that they had a meeting, that Tinubu had a meeting with Khan officials. There was a meeting. They had a meeting, I think it was on Saturday. They had a meeting with the government. They had a meeting with Tinubu. I want to show you a clip of that meeting so you can see what was going on. That this meeting was actually held. Let me see if I can find the clip. All right, so here is a video of that meeting. I don't want to put the audio. So you can see government, you can see the president, you can see him there, and here he is about to have a meeting with these people. So you can see there was a meeting held. So after the meeting, this statement was released. So what does that tell you? Does that tell you that you are hearing the truth, or you are hearing something that the government have dictated for people to say? So keep that in mind as we go into this, okay? Keep that in mind. Now let's see. Where's my can folder? All right, let's pause this so that we can watch this. We can read this article from Can. So yeah, according to Punch, on the 7th, today, October the 7th, 2025, Can dismisses Christian genocide claim, urges action against terrorism. The Christian Association of Nigeria has dismissed recent claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria, describing them as exaggerated narratives promoted by foreign actors. The controversy arose after U.S. comedian Bioma alleged that Nigerian Christians were being systematically killed in Nigeria, blah, 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 blah. Similarly, Senator Ted Cruz accused Nigerian officials of ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians by Islamic jihadis. He also claimed that Nigeria is being targeted for their faith and subject to Sharia and blasphemy laws. Okay? Cruz introduced the Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act to the U.S. Senate aimed at sanctioning officials deemed responsible. Riley Moore, a U.S. congressman, we'll look at what Riley Moore have said, for those who don't know, but yes, he also added his voice to, raise awareness about what is happening in Nigeria. But in an interview with Guardian Nigeria on Tuesday, Can's Director of National Issues and Social Welfare, Abimbola Ayuba, acknowledged that killings were occurring, but rejected the notions that Christians alone were being targeted. All I will say to you is that empirical facts exist all over the space about this part of killings in Nigeria. The pattern of killings have truly not been in a particular pattern. This is how Nigerians speak, like idiots. The pattern of killings have truly not been in a particular pattern. Okay, sure. In some Christian-dominated states like Benue, it will appear as if Christians are being killed. Okay. But this same insurgency has claimed several Muslims in their early morning prayers. They attack them in their mosques, slaughter them, kidnap them, and do a lot of things, Ayuba said. Okay, give us examples of Muslims being attacked in their early morning prayers. Don't just say it and... give me one headline, Ayuba. Give me one. He added that some groups exploit the situation for foreign attention. Sometimes our situation are being taken advantage of by groups who know what they benefit from foreign interest. All right. Of course, by foreign interest, they're talking about the US and Israel. Those foreign interests have a right to poke their nose into what's going on in our system. But we also have a right to report things as they are, which you are not doing. But of course, you have the right to lie. Yes, it's concerning that this insurgency is lasting too long. Also, the spate of killings does not take any pattern. If they open fire in a marketplace, the bullet doesn't look for a Christian or spare a Muslim or even spare a baby. Ayuba, I want to ask you something. If they throw a bomb in a church, who are going? Will a Muslim die or a Christian die? In the north, when when Muslims, Fulanis or whatever, sometimes just Muslims who are living close by in a different community, attack Christians. Let's say Muslims from northern Kaduna attack Christians in southern Kaduna, an area that is predominantly Christian. Who are they seeking to kill and eliminate? When Fulanis are specifically attacking areas in Bokos, in Plateau State, and Benue State, when they go to Kwara and they kidnap a pastor, who are they targeting? Is this not specific? When they kidnap a pastor, does a Muslim just randomly join in the kidnap and is now part of the victim of kidnap? There are specific attacks. When Boko Haram stops a bus traveling from Adamawa to Borno State and tells every person in the bus to come down and say, if you're a Christian, come to the left, and if you're a Muslim, come to the right. And then on camera, slaughter the Christians and then post that video on social media so that for the world to see and for them to know that, yes, they are massacring, they are targeting and killing Christians. Is that not evidence of targeted killings of Christians that is going on for a very long time, and you are aware of this? I mean, we are going to look at this. The Can chairman of Adamawa State was kidnapped by Boko Haram and killed, was kidnapped and killed, This was a Khan chairman, a member of your association, a member of the Christian Association of Nigeria. Did you forget that because you had a meeting with Tinubu? Yes, it's concerning that the insurgency, blah, 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 blah. He called for collective action to end the insurgency and cautioned against seeking sympathy abroad. So all we must be doing now is adopting an all of society action to stop this insurgency and also address issue of groupthink. Why run to America when you have a Senate here where you can file your These people cannot be real. They cannot be real. These people cannot be real. Oh, we have a Senate. I didn't know that. Surprise, surprise. Nigeria has a Senate. Have you not? We have a Senate. Why go to the why seek help from the United States where you have incompetent, useless senators that do absolutely nothing and have been doing absolutely nothing for 14 years? Why their people in their constituents have been dying? Why not appeal to those people who have been doing virtually nothing? In the end, when they place Nigeria in a country of particular interest, all of us will suffer. No, that's not true. That's not true. See, let me tell you, Ayuba, the people that told you to write this, the people that told you to write this nonsense or to say this nonsense, people that told you to do that are afraid of Nigeria being placed as a country of particular interest or particular concern. They are worried about it. They are worried about sanctions. What does that tell you? Is that if the pressure keeps mounting, they will be forced to do something about the situation. They will be forced for the first time in their life to actually do something about an issue. That is why they are worried, because they do not want to do anything about it. Don't you understand it, Ayuba? But those who run abroad to look for sympathy know why they do that. Oh yeah, we do that because Israel is paying us, essentially. Now, this is Khan, and this is what they have to say. I guess the statement goes on, but no, I think that's the end. But let's look at other things that... here's a story that I mentioned while I was reacting to this ridiculous statement. This is from 2020. This is like 5 years ago. Boko Haram executes chairman of Christian Association of Nigeria in Adamawa State. Abubakar Shekau faction of the terrorist group Boko Haram executed the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Adamawa State, Reverend Lawal Andimi, on the 20th of January. This reverend was abducted on 2nd of January 2020 when terrorists wearing military fatigue ransacked the town where he was staying and forced him into a vehicle. The news of his death was broken in a tweet posted on the 21st of January by Nigerian investigative journalist and Boko Haram expert Ahmed Sokida, who received a video of the beheading of this reverend and an unarmed soldier at this particular time. In a proof of life video sent to this person earlier, the reverend had asked his colleague, and particularly the president of his own denomination, Church of the Bethlehem in Nigeria, to speak with the Adamawa State governor and other relevant officials to secure his release. So he spoke with, he did the thing that Khan said we should do. Speak to our representatives, speak to our own government. He did that. And what happened? He died. While expressing confidence that he might return to family and colleagues by the grace of God, he added, if the opportunity has not been granted, maybe it is the will of God. The Reverend concluded his statement with the following words: don't cry, don't worry, but thank God for everything. Amen. So you know what happened to him, and he was killed. And he was beheaded, and the video of his beheading was sent to the press by Boko Haram. Is there any example of this being done to Muslims? Can we see an example of Boko Haram beheading Muslims and sending the picture out there, sending videos out there? But of course, Khan wants us to know that, that there is no... But here's the funny thing about Khan. I told you that all these people, you can always find them making a statement from way back that contradicts the statement that they made today. Here is another example. Here is Khan alleges. This is according to the Vanguard. And this was, when was this? This was done on April 1st, 2013. April 1st, 2020, Khan was sure that there is a genocide against Christian faith. They were admitting this as far back as 2013, but all of that has changed, okay? Boko Haram is still there. Insurgency is still there. Fulani herdsmen have joined. 22 other terrorist groups are involved. More killings have occurred. More kidnappings have occurred. More people have died. But now they can tell you for a fact that this is no longer a genocide against Christians. But far back in 2013, when things were not as bad as they were now, or when things were not as bad as they are now, they were saying that this was a genocide against Christians. What was happening, Khan? Was it because Jonathan was in office? Was that what all of this was about? Just trying to delegitimate, to attack the current administration because you did not like them. They were not your people, or they were not playing ball with Khan. But now that Tinubu, whose wife is a pastor of a prominent church in Nigeria, with most of his members forming part of Khan, now everybody is on board, right? Everybody is on board now with the current administration and will defend them shamelessly. But as far back as 2013, it was a genocide on Christians. The Christian Association of Nigeria has described the continuous bombing in northern Nigeria as genocide against Christians, insisting that the North is not at war as it is being portrayed in some quarters. Khan General Secretary, Reverend Musa Asake, who cried the ban of teaching of Christian religious knowledge, also that is the teaching of CRK in schools in the North, also noted that the clash between tribal groups in Nasarawa and Plateau State has assumed a religious dimension. Addressing a press conference in Abuja, Reverend Asake maintained that killings continue unabated in some parts of the North because there is no prosecution of those who kill, insisting that the government must prosecute Boko Haram suspects in its custody if they are truly sincere. His words, the assertion in some quarters that the North is at war does not represent the reality on ground. From our record, day in, day out, Christians in the North are the ones under an unprecedented siege by various groups of well-armed, roundly trained, and heavily funded groups bent on expressing their hate against Christians and the Christian faith through mindless mass murder of men, women, and children. There is no war in the North. What we have is genocide against people of the Christian faith. The state of the North, of the state of the nation, calls for concern. And so is the state of Christendom at this trying time. On the history of our nation, the situation demands urgent action. And we are not to descend into a state where every man is to himself. About 2 weeks ago, what began as an intertribal skirmish at Asak in this place in Nasarawa State between the people of this community and later assumed a religious dimension when Hausa Fulani militias invaded the tribal groups. And during the attack on January 9, many churches and houses were burnt and some pastors killed. This is what we've always been talking about. In all this attack, you have targeted attack at religious buildings, religious communities, and clergies, Christian clergies. The Christian communities in these villages were attacked by suspected religious fundamentalists with AK-47 rifles. At the end of the swift operation, no less than 20 Christians were killed and several others injured, while churches were burnt. As if that was not enough, the invaders also raided 6 churches in their denomination to frustrate the Christians within the community. The church included St. Job's Catholic Church, St. Simon Anglican Church, Holy Trinity Anglican Church, Hash Anglican Church, Kosin Church at this place, and Kosin Church at this other place. Pastors' homes were touched. According to Asake, the situation was no different in Zamfara State, as the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG Parish, located in this area of the state's capital, was set on fire by unknown persons rather. However, he said instead of intervening in their favor, authorities in the affected villages gave 6 months ultimatum for pastors of the affected churches to quit the place or face the consequences. Let me read that last place again. However, he said instead of intervening in their favor, authorities in the affected villages gave 6 months ultimatum to pastors of the affected church to quit the place or face the consequence. This is what's happening in the North as far back as 2013, and this is Khan reporting on it. He, that is the head of the world head, Adamu Mohammed Dariyu, ordered that they should not rebuild the church, but to quit the world within 6 months and find somewhere else to worship. This is contrary to the spirit of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which guarantees every Nigerian the right to association and worship, he said. The Khan scribe disclosed that the situation in Kano, Yobe, Borno, Sokoto, Zamfara, Jalingo, and Katsina states, how many states did he mention? That's about almost 6 states, was the worst of it all, saying aside from banning the teaching of Christian religious knowledge in schools, in the past 13 years, some of the government have refused to grant new building permits for churches to give approval to the renovation of expansion of churches. Let me read this paragraph again. The Khan scribe described that the situation in Kano, Yobe, Borno, Sokoto, Zamfara, Jigawa, and Katsina states were the worst of it all, saying aside from banning the teaching of CRK in schools, in the past 13 years, some of the governments have refused to grant new building permits to churches or give approval for the renovation or expansion of churches. This is Boko Haram. I say Boko Haram. This is Saudi Arabia's style of suppression of religion happening in these states. And this was Khan reporting about it as far back as 2013. Remember all the things we are reading from every other person telling us that this is not happening. This is far back in 2013, and this is Khan being honest. Like I said, it's always sweet to be in the opposition until you find yourself in the corridors of power. Let's read on. Why the preaching by Christians is restricted to church premises in the core northern states. Muslim clerics are free to preach hateful and inciting sermons with no hindrance. He's saying Muslim clerics in the north preach hateful sermons against Christians in the north, and it is done without hindrance. Meanwhile, in the north, Christian pastors cannot preach in public. They have to restrict preaching in the church building, and they don't use megaphones because it will be offensive. But the Muslims can blast their prayers and do everything they want to do publicly and openly. And some of the preachings that they made is done to demonize and downgrade the lives of Christians. And they are free to do that. But they want us to believe that this is not happening. This is Khan in 2013. Maybe the National Christian Body decries a situation where Christian indigenes of the North were treated as third-class citizens in their father's land, noting that with a series of callous attacks on Christians, it could no longer encourage them not to fold their hands and watch. Any Muslim that converts to Christianity in those states is declared an apostate and face severe persecution in flagrant violence of their free choice of religion. Indigenes of this state who are born as Christians are treated as inferior and suffer untold injustice, oppression, and cannot rise beyond certain levels in the state civil service, no matter how educated they are. It is also true that no Christian can fight for Christ or shed blood to preserve further Christianity. Nevertheless, every Christian has a right to life, self-dignity, and the freedom to pursue his daily and legal obligations to God and society. If such right can be taken away with the state looking on helplessly, we say take the constitutional privilege of self-defense. According to Khan, one major source of concern to us in Khan is the Nigerian government's failure to prosecute all the arrested persons allegedly backing Boko Haram. The picture that emerges from this is that government is insincere with its much touted war against the sect's members. One good reason why the government is yet to flush out the group. The government must acquire a reputation. The government must acquire a reputation for being taken seriously on this matter by the populace. It must also acquire the spine to prosecute any member of the sect already in the government's net. To do otherwise is to make most Nigerians to believe that some classes of Nigerians are untouchable, he stated, which is something Nigerians already believe. That is far back as 2013, ladies and gentlemen. As far back as 2013. People could be honest, but now they can't. Because, imagine what it would be like for the US to intervene and impose sanctions on Nigeria. It will increase the suffering and the hardship in Nigeria. And of course, it will be them doing it at the behest of Israel. Of course, Israel is to be blamed for everything. This is as far back as 2013. Give me a moment, I'll be back. Just a short moment, I'll be back. Do you see that? Do you see all of that? Do you see all of that? This is as far back as 2013. Nothing has changed, though. Nothing has changed. But Khan wants us to believe in 2025 that there is no genocide on Christians. They want us to believe that. I want to read a super chat from John. Thank you, John. He said, "Thank you, Frank, for being the voice of the innocent Nigerian Christians who are being targeted and killed by Nigerian Muslims. God bless you and your family." Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope guys have been able to demonstrate extensively just how these people are lying and contradicting themselves. In fact, the people that are refuting, who is the person refuting Khan is Khan. Khan is refuting Khan. Fani Kayode is refuting Fani Kayode. Omokri is refuting Omokri. And then we have this Bashir Ahmed guy. Let me focus. Let me go back to Bashir Ahmed, who wants us to believe that everybody who is talking about this is doing so at the behest of Israel, who is paying them $7,000. Where's my Bashir Ahmed folder? I have folder for all these people. Here's my Bashir Ahmed folder. All right. Let us look at some wonderful statements from Bashir Ahmed. I think this is one of them. Let me not start with this one. Let me start with this one. This is a tweet that he deleted, but the internet is forever. You can see this post has been deleted. But in 2024, last year, he said, Bashir Ahmed, who wants us to believe that this is not against Christians. He said, "It is an honor to be called an Islamic extremist." Talking about himself, that somebody is calling him an Islamic extremist. And he said, "Oh, it is an honor. It is an honor." Here he is. Here he is in 2015. Saying, "I can't pretend to keep silent. I support the death penalty for blasphemy. That's my belief, and I do not and will never support Safe Kano 9. So those who don't understand what Safe Kano 9 is about, let us read BBC's report on Safe Kano 9 so you can understand. This is where 9 people in Kano State were sentenced to death in a rushed legal Sharia law proceeding. Let me read it instead of just telling you what happened. Nigeria's court in Kano sentenced 9 people to death for blasphemy. An Islamic court has sentenced 9 people to death for insulting the Prophet Muhammad in northern Nigerian city of Kano. The accused, who were all Muslims, have pleaded guilty. The head of Kano's religious police, Aminu Ibrahim Daurawa, told the BBC the trial was speedily done in secret after a section of the court was burnt down by angry protesters last month. It is not known if they will appeal against the sentence. The alleged offense was committed last month at a religious gathering in honor of Sheikh Ibrahim, this person, the Senegalese founder of this sect, which has a large following across West Africa. The 9, 8 men and a woman, were reported to have said that this person was bigger than Prophet Muhammad, triggering unrest. So these people are trying to hype somebody that they were trying, and then they said something that this person is bigger than the Prophet Muhammad, and for that reason, the venue where this event was happening was burned to the ground by an angry mob, and the 9 were arrested. There has been consensus among Muslim scholars that insulting the Prophet carries a death sentence. This person told the BBC, "We quickly put them on trial to avoid bloodshed because people were very angry and trying to take laws into their hands." So you can imagine. Kano has a predominantly Muslim population and Islamic courts operate alongside secular courts. BBC Kano reporter said people celebrated in some parts of the city when the news of the judgment emerged. This is a secular state. The Sufi sect, so the people who said these things were Sufis, and the Sufi sect was founded in Algeria in 1785 by this person. It spread all over the world with large following in the North and West Africa. It also has followers in South Africa, Indonesia, and other parts of the world. There are other Sufi sects of Islam, but this sect is the largest. They have three main daily practices: asking forgiveness, blah 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 blah. Okay, so that's what we know about the sect, and this is why they are being sentenced. So these are not like the typical Muslims you know. These are Sufis. These are Sufis, and because they are Sufis, of course, it's okay. They are blaspheming. Kill them. And this man is like, yeah, that's, I have no issue with it. I cannot. The blasphemy should be met with death. And So keep all of this in mind when you hear the Nigerian government go, or people or Khan or whoever it is make all these statements. They are all lying. They are all lying. Okay, all of them are lying. All of them are lying. Yes. For those who don't know, Bashir Ahmed is a former advisor to the former president of Nigeria, that's Muhammadu Buhari. He's part of the elite class in the political elites in Nigeria. So he's not just a random person saying this thing. This is somebody who is a prominent figure. And he was saying it as far back as 2015. So this is not just some rando saying it. You know. So yeah, that is that is what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. That is what is happening. Anyway, guys, before we move forward, I want to remind all of us, please, how many of us are here? 52 of us. Please smash the like button. Share this if you are yet to share it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Ring that notification bell. Let the world know that we are live and we are talking about something very important. And we are exposing the lies of the Nigerian government and letting people know that everything that the Westerners are saying is 100% true. People lying at Nigeria, Omokri, Fani Kayode, Bashir Ahmed, the Khan, all of them are lying. Okay, that's what we are doing here. And also, you can support the channel by going to my Buy Me a Coffee page and buying me that coffee. Okay, and I also want to announce, I think I should have announced this earlier. I also want to announce that I'll be doing a question and answer on, I'll do a Q and I'll be doing, I want to do a live call, like a live stream where people can call in on Friday. I'm planning that, so if you are somebody who wants to call in on the channel and, we'll have a conversation, ask me whatever it is you want to ask, or have a conversation about whatever it is you want to have a conversation on. If it's something that I'm interested in conversing with you about, I will. So it's not like you call in and then now I'm forced to have a conversation with you. But it's something I'm interested in, yeah. Or maybe I'll come up with a subject and then we'll talk about it. So you can call in and let me know what you think and we can have a conversation or a debate, whatever it is that you want on Friday. And then on Saturday, I want us to do a call-in where, not a call-in, I want to answer certain questions. So I'm thinking of answering answering like 15 questions, like taking my time to really answer your questions that you may have for me and you want me to address and you want to know what I think about. And I'll be doing it with a special guest. Hopefully this time it will work. So yeah, I'll be doing it with a special guest. And for me, if you want to send questions, you have to go to my Buy Me a Coffee page, which I'm going to highlight here. You go to buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective, and you buy me a coffee. When you buy me a coffee, you have the option of sending me a message. So you can use the opportunity to send me your questions, and I'll be looking at 15 or more of these questions. As many as you send, I will be addressing them. If they're not up to 15, I'll come up with other questions of my own to make it up, or take super chats, whatever happens. But I'll be answering questions, the Q&A section. You can ask me whatever question you want to ask me. So yeah, go to buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective. Put your questions there, and on Saturday I'll be answering all of them. And on Friday, remember, I'm doing a call-in, so prepare. On Friday, if you want to call me in and want to have a conversation, depending on the topic we'll be talking about, I'll come up with the topic maybe tomorrow or the day after, and so that everyone can prepare, and then we can have that conversation, and it will be fun, hopefully. So yeah, that's like update of things that I plan to do in the future, the near future. All right, so moving on. While all of this is happening, I want all of us to know that why all of this is happening, while we are having conversation about is there a genocide against Christians in Nigeria or not, while everyone is coming up with, oh, there is, there isn't. I want us to know for if, there's one more person we need to look at. Sorry, I almost forgot. One more person who has tried to refute Ted Cruz. I don't know why everybody's piling on Ted Cruz. Like, they leave other representatives and other people, and they're like, Ted Cruz, you especially. Maybe because they know that Ted Cruz is not letting up, and he's really, really on their neck. Ted Cruz is really, really on their neck. So there's one more person, Shehu Gauba. And here is Shehu Gauba. Shehu Gauba's tweet on this issue. Allow it to load. And okay, this is not responding to Ted Cruz. This is responding to Goodluck Jonathan. If you remember, on the last time we had a live stream, Goodluck Jonathan said, for those who do not know, who cannot, Goodluck Jonathan said, let's see if we can play that clip so that people will know exactly, especially those who are not in the last live stream, so people will know what we are talking about. Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have the good luck, Jonathan? Okay, here it is.
I will not go through a lengthy protocol because of the time.
He said it towards the end of his speech, not tweet, speech.
I nominated Buhari to, within that 5 years that I was there, I believe late Buhari too must have tried his best, because one of the committees we set up then, the Boko Haram nominated Buhari to lead their team to negotiate with government. So I was feeling that, if they nominated Buhari to represent them and have a discussions with the government committee, then when Buhari took over, it could have been an easy way to negotiate with them, and they would have handed over their guns, but it was still there till today.
So you can see the claim here. He was saying that this is the former president of Nigeria. For those who don't know, this is the president of Nigeria during the rise of Boko Haram. This is Goodluck Jonathan. And he was saying that they were trying to combat the Boko Haram insurgency, and they set up a committee to have conversation and negotiation with these terrorists. And the terrorists themselves, the Boko Haram terrorists, nominated the Muhammadu Buhari, the next president, the person who eventually became president after Jonathan. They nominated Muhammadu Buhari as their mediator. They're like, who is going to mediate for us? And the person that was nominated was Muhammadu Buhari. Okay? So, and that is what Goodluck is saying here. That, see, this happened. And he was thinking that if Buhari became president, that it would be easier, because, I mean, these people wanted him to be their spokesperson. So now their spokesperson is in power. So, or the person they wanted as a spokesperson is in power. So it would be easy to address the issue of Boko Haram. But it turned out that when their spokesperson came into power, they just continued operating and did it with impunity. And in fact, their number grew. So he was wondering, I mean, this shows that this problem is more than what they are telling us, essentially. That's kind of what Jonathan is trying to infer. And then Shehu Gauba decided to respond to Jonathan and said, Boko Haram did not nominate Buhari as their mediator. To be president in 2027, Goodluck Jonathan should look for another story to tell Nigerians. We are compelled to make a response to a terrible statement made on the late President Muhammadu Buhari by his predecessor in office, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to the effect that Boko Haram had nominated him, that's Buhari, to represent them in a dialogue with the government. If this is a campaign statement towards his bid for the presidency in 2027, we want to say to him that, Mr. Jonathan, you are making a false start. Muhammadu Yusuf or Abubakar Shekau, the deceased leader of the Boko Haram terrorist group, never nominated Buhari for any such role. In fact, Shekau routinely denounced and threatened Buhari, and their ideology were in direct opposition. In 2014, Muhammadu Buhari escaped a bomb attack on his life by Boko Haram in Kaduna, in which his personal staff suffered various degrees of injury. And then he went on, blah, 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 blah. It did not happen. Essentially what he's saying here is it did not happen, it did not happen, it did not happen. All right, that's good to know. Right? Now let us provide evidence that it actually happened. This is proof that it actually happened. Boko Haram names Buhari and 5 others as mediators. This is on November 1st, 2023. You see, this is one thing about Nigerian politicians. It's the kind of bold lie. For you to be a politician in Nigeria, you need to master the fine art of telling bold lies. You don't tell lies that cannot be refuted. You don't tell lies like that. You tell lies that you know can be easily refuted. Okay, that's what it means to be a very vehement, strong politician in Nigeria. This is report from 2012 that Boko Haram names Buhari and 5 others as mediators. Now, here is another one that will shock you. Here is something else that will shock you. I hope I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. I think I have it saved. It should be. Sorry, I'm just looking for the. Okay, I found what I'm looking for. Now here's another news headline. From November 14, 2012. This is the same Shekau saying not accepting to negotiate with Boko Haram could hurt Buhari. So for those who don't understand what is going on, this is the first headline we saw said Boko Haram was named as a mediator Boko Haram named Buhari as a mediator for them. And then the next thing we see is an article or an opinion piece from Shehu Galba, or Galba Shehu, telling the then telling Buhari then that not accepting to be a mediator for Boko Haram may not be a good move for you. You should accept. Essentially, not only that happened, but he was encouraging Buhari to be the mediator for Boko Haram. So this is not somebody who is lying because he cannot remember. This is somebody who actually talked about it back then. So he knew about it, he talked about it back then, and now he's pretending like, oh no, we were never nominated or mentioned by Boko Haram, or Boko Haram never said that we should be their mediator. But it happened. And you even acknowledged back then that it happened. And you even encouraged Buhari back then to accept and be their mediator. But all of a sudden in 2025, you've forgotten and you are writing lengthy pieces to say it didn't happen. And speaking of Buhari, late Buhari, by the way, this is a clip that we watched. This is I don't know what to call this, but how it's written is kind of funny. And this was really written by Reno Omokri. You know Reno, the same person who was giving us breakdown of... Anyways, this is Reno Omokri. He said, please research this. On June 2nd, 2013, Muhammadu Buhari responded to the military offensive launched by Jonathan's administration to deal a mortal blow to Boko Haram by granting a press conference in which he described the military offensive against Boko Haram as being against the interest of northern Nigeria. The next day, the headline reads, the military offensive against Boko Haram is anti-North Buhari. And Buhari's statement not only divided the armed forces, they also ended up providing aid and comfort for the enemy, Boko Haram. So not only did Boko Haram name Buhari as their mediator, Buhari back then stated, after the government launched this very aggressive military operation against Boko Haram, after the government launched that in hopes to deal a fatal blow to the terrorist group, Buhari came out and gave a press conference where he said that attacking Boko Haram was attacking northern Nigeria. That's an attack on Boko Haram was an attack on northern Nigeria. So not only did Boko Haram name Buhari to be their mediator, Buhari himself defended them back in 2013. Defended them. Everybody is acting like, oh, it's not true that the government facilitates and ignores terrorism in Nigeria. Here is an example. Here is an example. And I want to point out another one that is kind of a random person, but it just gives you the flavor of what you see on social media of those who are defending the government, this current administration in Nigeria. So here is just another example. This is somebody who calls himself Defense News Nigeria. And this is what he has to say to Ted Cruz. He said, we've officially crossed into dangerous territory. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz is now pushing a bill to sanction the Nigerian government, accusing it of enabling Boko Haram's violence against Christians. Those driving this false narrative are not prepared for the consequences. So he's saying that not only is this dangerous, but it is not true. It is a lie. Okay. Here is Defense News Nigeria in 2017. The forgotten Christians of Nigeria. Faithfuls faithful while enduring incredible persecution. Do you see what is going on here? Do you do you see what is going on here? Do you see exactly what is going on here? You know, and why are they angry with Ted Cruz? What has Ted Cruz been saying that is getting them all of them worked up? This is just some of the recent tweets from Ted Cruz that is really getting everybody really getting these people really like, hey, God, oh. See, all it takes to make the Nigerian government panic, all it takes is just one senator. That's all it takes. One senator. One senator. That's all it takes. One senator. It doesn't take 10, just one. One senator has put the Nigerian government in panic mode. And this is Ted Cruz tweeting. This is a tweet from today. He said, the Texas Senate has warned he will hold officials accountable for the reported mass slaughter of tens of thousands of Christians in Nigeria. This is reported from Fox News. You can check. Let's read the report. And this is Ted Cruz saying he's going to hold the Nigerian administration accountable. Ted Cruz clashes with Nigeria over his claim that 50,000 Christians have been killed since 2009 in religious violence. First thing on Fox, a diplomatic battle is being waged between the lead Republican Senator Ted Cruz and Nigerian government officials. The Texas senator has warned he would hold them accountable for the reported mass slaughter of tens of thousands of Christians in Nigeria. The official said Cruz is lying, with one claiming that despite even the Pope publicly calling out the killing, there is religious harmony in the country. Some people may not know this, but one of the recent killings in Benue State, even the Pope had to make, as you know it is serious when even the Pope, who would rather stay silent or bless ice blocks or chime in on abortion and the death penalty, that Pope would take out time to talk about what is happening. When that Pope would take out time to talk about what is even happening in Benue State and how it is happening to Christians in particular. But these people have come out to say, of course, as we've seen, that it is not happening. Christians and Muslims are living in peace and harmony. Nigeria is one of the most dangerous places in the world to be a Christian, according to international Christian advocacy group Open Door International's 2025 World Watch List, that's WWL. An estimated 48% of the population is Christian, but of the 4,476 Christians reportedly killed worldwide in this organization's latest report, about 69% of those killings were in Nigeria. On Saturday, the spokesperson of Nigerian's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu told the Lagos newspaper that Cruz should stop these malicious, contrived lies over the murders. In response, Cruz, the chairman of the Senate Subcommittee on Africa and Global Health Policy, told Fox News Digital, Nigeria's federal government and a dozen state governments enforce blasphemy laws in their criminal and Sharia codes. They ignore or facilitate mob violence targeting Christians. Is it true or is it not true? Is Ted Cruz lying? They will not address that. On Friday, the Nigerian Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, spoke exclusively to Fox News Digital, rejecting Cruz's claim of Christian massacres in his country. The Nigerian government rejects that. That is certainly not true, he said. In reaction, Cruz told Fox News Digital that the killing are the result of the decisions made by specific people in specific places at specific times. The United States know who those people are, and I intend to hold them accountable. I hope people are hearing that part, Nigerian government. Ted Cruz said he knows who you people are, and all of you will be held accountable. So keep that in mind. Cruz said since 2009, over 50,000 Christians in Nigeria has been massacred, and over 20,000 churches and Christian schools have been destroyed. These atrocities are directly linked to the policies of Nigerian federal and state officials. They are the result of decisions made by specific people in specific places at specific times. And it says a great deal about who is lashing out now that a light is being shone on these issues. On Friday, Cruz posted on X, officials in Nigeria are ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians by Islamic jihadists. It is time to hold those responsible accountable. He went on to refer to a new bill he has introduced in the Senate. That is blah, 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 blah. Okay. And let's not continue reading that. So, yeah, this is why these people are in panic mode. And it's not just Ted Cruz, of course. There are other people in Nigeria. Here is Representative Riley Moore. talking about what is going on. He also wrote a letter to Marco Rubio asking for Nigeria to be, placed as part of the, I've forgotten what that thing is called. But we'll look at it. According to Riley, he said, Nigeria is the deadliest country in the world for Christians, and the world stands by silently. That's why I'm urging Secretary of State Marco Rubio to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, to unlock diplomatic levers to protect our brothers and sisters in Christ. Since Boko Haram's insurgency in 2009, more than 50,000 Christians have been murdered and more than 5 million have been displaced. Just this year, a priest was kidnapped and murdered on Ash Wednesday. 54 Christians were martyred on Palm Sunday. At least 250 priests have been attacked or killed in the last decade. More than 19,000 churches have been attacked or destroyed since 2009, averaging 3 per day. In addition to concerning reports of cells of the Nigerian government's potential involvement in this attack, officials at both state and federal levels are often hostile to Christians. This includes forcing the closure of Christian orphanages and forced conversions. Is it not funny that essentially, I want people to understand that essentially what the U.S. Senate and representative, especially these people, what they are repeating is something that the Christian Association of Nigeria, said as far back as 2013. So they're just repeating what Khan said as far back as 2013 about what is happening to Christians in northern Nigeria. That's all. This is from Khan, from the Khan that has changed their tune, or all of a sudden. That's all they are repeating. And it goes on and goes on and goes on. But here's the letter. You can read all of that. So you can see why there's real panic, and these people are really, really afraid. And why instead of doing anything to fix the situation, they would rather lie, because it is because it is more convenient for the Nigerian government to lie than to say the truth. I mean, here is the Minister of Information as far back as 2020 under the Buhari administration. Under Buhari, this is APC, the same people that are in power right now. Here is Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information, saying that Nigeria's Islamists are targeting Christians. I want you to pay attention to what they are saying. That these Islamists are targeting Christians. This is Lai Mohammed. Lai Mohammed is saying this as far back as in 2013. Islamic militant groups in Nigeria have begun targeting Christians in an attempt to provoke a religious war, the information minister said on Thursday. Islamic insurgents in Nigeria have killed around 35,000 people and displaced at least 2 million in the past decade, driven first by Boko Haram and more recently by its offshoot, the Islamic State of West African Province. Information Minister Lai Mohammed said jihadist groups in the northwest of the country have now adopted a deliberate policy. This is Lai Mohammed as far back as in just how many years is 22? Just 3 years ago, saying they have a deliberate policy of attacking Christians. This was somebody in the administration. This is the information minister of Buhari, Muhammad Buhari. They have started targeting Christians and Christian villages for a specific reason, which is to trigger a religious war and throw the nation into chaos, he told reporters. Nigeria's 2 million inhabitants are roughly split between blah, blah, blah. Mohammed cited a number of flashpoints. In December, ISWAP. This is from Lai Mohammed. This is from Lai Mohammed. I guess Lai Mohammed was being paid by Jews. He was being paid by Zionists. He was being paid by Benjamin Netanyahu back in 2020 to make this statement. This is what Lai Mohammed said. In 2022, is it 2020 or 20? Yeah, in 2020, sorry, not 2020. In 2020, that's 5 years ago. Mohammed cited a number of flashpoints. In December, ISWAP beheaded 10 Christian men and shot dead an 11th. And in January, Boko Haram executed the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria. He also pointed to raids on Christian villages in the north. He said they are targeting Christian villages in the north. These are people that always... Remember now they are telling us that Christians and Muslims are dying. But he's telling us here that there is a deliberate attack of specifically targeting Christian villages in the north. Kidnapping priests, kidnapping pastors, beheading Christian men on camera and posting it on social media. Mohammed said Nigeria was serious about tackling violent extremism and committed to protecting Christians and Muslims. Of course, they are. We want to therefore appeal to our religious leaders not to fall for this desperate move by the insurgents, not to allow them to divide us as a people and weaken our resolve, he said. Boko Haram and ISWAP have always, listen to what he's saying. This is coming from Khan, the spokesperson of this is from Khan. This is from Christian Association of Nigeria in 2020. We saw them in 2013. Now this is them from 2020. This is their spokesperson this time, Samuel, whatever. He said Boko Haram and ISWAP have always been killing Christians and even liberal Muslims, he said. The problem is government management of the situation. No decisive action has been taken to stop the killing. Is that not the same thing Ted Cruz is saying? Is that not the same thing Ted Cruz is saying? People ignore it or even facilitate it. Is that not the same thing he's saying? You guys were saying this as far back as 2020. But in 2025, everything has changed. Now people are talking. This is from Reuters, ladies and gentlemen. This is from Reuters. There is no lie these people will not tell. There is no lie that these people will not tell. And why they are telling these lies? Why they are telling all these lies? Here is what is happening on the ground in Nigeria. Breaking. Bandits kill 27 in fresh attack on Kogi, Yaba West as insecurity worsens. And you might wonder, where is this news? This is from 5th of October. While we are busy debating what is happening, are Christians being attacked? Just 2 days ago, 27 people were killed in this area of Kogi State. Bandits, of course, which we know to be Islamic terrorists, did this. If you read the details, you know, it is always gruesome. While we are still talking about this, in Sokoto, northern Nigeria, 17 towns. I want you to see the headline. 17 Sokoto towns have been deserted. Nobody is staying there. It's now ghost town because of terror attacks. And this is from October the 4th. Is the government doing anything to address this issue, to liberate these 17 towns? No, they're busy fighting Ted Cruz. That's what they are doing. They're busy fighting Ted Cruz. They would rather fight Ted Cruz than address this issue. Here's another one. Southern Kaduna farmers Southern Kaduna farmers paint faces black, march to traditional rulers' palace barefoot over herders attacking them. This is in Southern Kaduna, which is predominantly occupied by Christians. They are protesting that herders are attacking them, and they are looking to their traditional ruler for remedy. Do you see Tinubu there? Do you see military presence there? Is there something being done to address that? No. Instead, the Nigerian government will waste their energy talking to Ted Cruz and responding to Bioma. You know, here is this picture. This is one picture. This is a family. You can see everyone in the family here. And after terrorists have attacked them, look, everyone is dead and the only person remaining is this lady. This is happening in the north. This is happening in Benue State. Are they doing anything to address this? No. They're fighting Ted Cruz. Here is the current opposition. Of course, you know in Nigeria, being an opposition is always sweet. And if you want to know the truth about what is happening in the nation, listen to the opposition. Here is the current opposition saying insecurity now a national emergency. Terrorists have taken over 9 of 17 local governments in Kwara State. 9 out of 17 local governments, according to Peter Obi, is being occupied by terrorists. Is the government doing anything to help those 9 local government areas in Kwara State? No. They are busy fighting. They are busy fighting Ted Cruz. Because I'm fighting Zionists essentially. Now they are busy fighting Netanyahu. You know. And here is oh God. Here is something else that is just tragic. Here are a list of names of people who have been killed in in Benue State, in Plateau State rather, not Benue State. People who have been killed in Plateau State. This is a memorial that is set for them. These are over how many names? Over 500 names. Is the government doing anything about this? These are Christian names. You will not see Muhammad there. You will not see Gauba there. You will not see Ahmed there. You can see their names. You can see their names. Is the government doing anything about it? No. Ted Cruz is their problem. The names continue. See another one. This one is kind of blurry. But this is where the names are. This is like the number one. This one is the continuation of those names. Is the government doing anything about that? No. Ted Cruz is their problem. Ted Cruz is their problem. It's quite unfortunate. Here is a pastor from this.
I'm speaking to every one of you Nigerians, and I want us to take note of this. We all have, I keep saying it, we have a responsibility to defend and protect the integrity of our country. We also have a responsibility to make sure that this country do not go into the point where we continue to ride on deception. Truth is truth, and truth must not be covered for anything. If there is anything that has been brought up, we must work together to see to an end to this reality.
The government don't want it to end. They would rather lie. They don't want to end the insecurity issue in this country. They would rather lie about it. That's what they are all about. They would rather lie about it and keep lying about it.
There is this issue that is ongoing about the genocide in Nigeria against the Christians or the Middle Beltans. It is true. We can't deny it. Before the militants and some of the Islamic militants began to kill some of the Hausas in Zamfara and other places, we all know that Christian communities were totally displaced. And we have recorded tens of thousands of Christians in the northern Nigeria that have been killed and their communities have been taken away. This is genocide. What is the meaning of genocide? I mean, the English definition is there. What genocide means. Now, I want you, except you are an enemy of Nigeria, but if you know that you're passionate and you're patriotic about the state of this country, then we must share this among ourselves and speak the truth to ourselves and agree with the reality of what is on ground. I have had some of the special assistant media and all of that to the president coming out to say there is no genocide in Nigeria. It's a lie, absolute lie. Just look at it. From in 2025, over 7,000 Christians were killed. Now, in just 2025, 7,087 Christians were killed in 220 days of 2025 alone. Now, daily average Christians that are being killed per day is 32 Christians per day that are being killed in this country.
No, but anybody who points it out is, I guess this is another example of somebody who was paid by Israel, I guess. Anybody who points this out is paid by Israel. He's working for foreign interest and is trying to get foreigners to get involved in our domestic affairs. That is how it is being painted. Instead of addressing the issue, that is how they go.
Another record, in 2024, 3,100 Christians were killed. In 2023, 4,118 Christians were killed. Between the period of October 2022 to September 2023, from the documents that we have, 4,118 Christians were killed. We all know about the Christmas massacre.
Of course, we know about the Christmas massacre. We know all these massacres. We know all of them. Look, it is well known. I don't want to give you more clips to just repeat the same point, but it is well known. Every person who you see denying this is just lying. It is well known. It is a well-known fact, and every other person that you see denying it is just lying. It's well known. Don't let anybody deceive you. Okay? It's not Israel that is making anybody point it out. It's a reality that everybody has known. Even those who are denying it at one point, we are saying it. Why they are denying it now is because it's unfavorable. If there's anybody that is being paid, it is not us that is just saying the same thing that they have been saying. So I hope the pressure continues, and I hope that finally something will be done about this. But who knows? Who knows? Let me acknowledge my sister in Christ. He said, Frank, how about the Discord server for calls? It will be easier for people. Don't worry, I'll figure out the details. Just I'll communicate the details of the call. What she's talking about is I made an announcement that moving forward, on Friday we'll have a call-in, and then on Saturday we'll have people send in their questions, and then we'll answer them. I'll give you details of that moving forward. Just subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed. Ring that notification bell. I'll be making, what is it called now? I'll be making posts. I'll be making YouTube posts, giving you update on all of that. So yeah. And what else? What else? So yeah. What I want to say about what is happening in, like other things that I want to add in addition to everything that has been said. Is that how do I introduce this? I don't want people to look at any of this, and yes, it can be annoying and it is frustrating. The lies is kind of outrageous and unbelievably so. But let not your heart be troubled. Okay, I think it is important for me to say this. You can look at all of this and be like, oh, look at what is going on, and it can really be demoralizing. But let not your heart be troubled. Okay, salvation is of the Lord. But before I get into that, yes, there's something I wanted to point out. I'm aware that Candace Owens have leaked chat that has what was his name? Charlie saying some things, just venting essentially. And that Turning Point USA have also made a podcast responding to that and all whatnot. And it's kind of unfortunate. What I mean by unfortunate, of course, people will always be like, oh, you see, Candace finally has receipt. But receipt of what exactly? It doesn't really, if you look at her claim and then you look at the receipt and what the texts are saying, you realize that her claim is kind of exaggerated and all whatnot. Okay? And then there is nothing really new. Yes, there's nothing really new. Yes, it's already known at this point that Charlie Kirk had issues with his donors. It's kind of known already at this point that he had issues with his donors. That has been repeated over and over again. There's one thing that we know for a fact about Charlie at this point. It's not even what he stood for. It's now what will I say, the relationship he had with his donors is kind of what is now an undisputed fact. So there is that. But it's kind of disappointing. And so many people are overlooking the disappointment, but I'm not going to be one of them. It's kind of disappointing to read that text. It was really disappointing. Not of course, it doesn't prove Candace Owens' point, but it just doesn't show Charlie Kirk in a good light. I mean, imagine that you lose a donor, or you lose donors, And then because you lose donors, you are thinking of abandoning. You said that. Maybe you did not mean it. Maybe you were venting. Maybe you were being, people said he was being sarcastic. Whatever it is. Let me bring it up so that, for those who be wondering, what is he talking about? For those who be wondering, what am I talking about? Let me bring the text. The text exchange from. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is the text exchange, and this is kind of what Charlie said. He said, "Just lost another huge Jewish donor, 2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace." And then somebody responded by saying, "Huh?" And then Charlie said, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." And then somebody said, "Please don't invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times." And then the person went on and said whatever. And it has been confirmed that yes, this is indeed true. This is a real test. It's not fabricated or anything like that. Although people were like, "It's fake, it's fake, it's fake." It wasn't. It's real. This is what I find frustrating. Now, I don't know if this was sarcastic or whatever. Maybe people need to explain to me the sarcasm because I don't get it. But if let's take it at what it is. But you have to admit that it looks somehow that because people are not giving you money, because people are not giving you 2 million a year or giving your organization 2 million a year, you're going to abandon the pro-Israel cause. It looks somehow. Like, so you are doing it for money, and because the money is no longer forthcoming, you're going to abandon it. I mean, I don't know. It did not rub me the wrong way, the right way. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I felt, really, I've been doing this. Nobody has sent me 2 million. Nobody has sent me huge money for what I'm doing. And I still do it nonetheless because I believe it to be true. You do what you believe in. If people fund it, fine. If people don't fund it, fine. You're going to abandon a cause to get back at Jewish donors because they withdrew and because they were not in support of. I mean, and then you also said, I don't know if you said it sarcastically, I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Really? I mean, I don't know. Unfortunately, Tucker is not alive. Unfortunately, Charlie is not alive to defend himself and explain himself. That's the unfortunate thing. And, people are always pointing it out like, oh, it's quite unfortunate that this kind of private tweets private messages are being published, and Charlie is not here to tell us exactly what he meant by some of the things that are being released out there. And look, no be me tell him make him and Candace Owens be friends. Let me say it in proper English. I'm not the one that told him to be friends with Candace Owens. Okay, it is a choice. And this is the fruit of that choice. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, he chose to be friends with Candace Owens. He chose that. It's his choice. I will not badmouth my friend. I will not. Okay, yeah, this is what your good friend, your childhood friend at this point, the person who now is claiming that she is the reason you died. This is what your friend is putting out there, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, especially for Charlie. It doesn't. I don't know what Candace Owens thinks this is supposed to show about her friend, about how he was standing up for himself. No, it doesn't show him standing up for himself. It showed him buckling under pressure. It doesn't look good. Of course, people have come out to say, he didn't mean what he said. Before he died, he was. I'm not saying none of that is true. I'm just saying this message doesn't look good. And if there's anything it just shows what I've been saying about having unholy alliances, making friends with people you should distance yourself from. You thought people were morally blackmailing you. Well, here is the result. Here is the result. This is what happens This is what happens. Someone is now leaking information to your best friend. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And let me say this. I don't care, like, it doesn't mean much to me at the end of the day whether Charlie... In fact, one of the reasons why I talk about this is not because I'm trying to defend Charlie's legacy or whatever. I'm talking about it, or the times I've talked about it is to expose the lies of Candace Owens. I think it's more important to me to expose the lies of Candace Owens than it is for me to defend the legacy of Charlie. I'll be honest with you. That is just how I feel, because I'm not going to be a defender of somebody as if that is my job. I'm not his lawyer. I would rather spend more time exposing the ridiculousness of Candace Owens. And that was really the reason why I pointed out some of these things that I pointed out, just to show how ridiculous Candace Owens has been, you know. But this here exposes another person's ridiculousness. And it's not Candace Owens. So. And I said all of that to say, you know, I was watching the Benjamin Netanyahu's interview with Ben Shapiro, and one of the questions that Ben Shapiro asked him was about Israel becoming independent, having military independence. And I want to say this to Israel: more than repairing your socials or whatever it is, your reputation in the world, more than that, more than investing in whatever it is that you people want to invest in, which is good, but more than all of that, I think you should invest in military independence, because there is nothing as annoying and dehumanizing of having to appease some people and having to... There is not... It feels somehow it's like you have to prostitute yourself to certain people because you want weapons from them. Look, be independent, have your own stuff. The reason why Nigeria is here waiting for Ted Cruz to say something is because Nigerian Christians cannot defend themselves. The whole shtick of Israel is not to have yourself in that position. And if there's anything that is good for the Jewish people, is to have a nation that is very strong and does not rely on the United States. A nation that if the United States does not back them, they can stand on their own and stand firmly. It is important. It is expedient. It is more important than repairing your social reputation in the world right now, which I don't think you even can do. Like repair it, because people that hate you, hate you. It doesn't matter how many PR stunts you pull. You know. And for those in Nigeria, this should be a lesson that relying on America can become this, can begin to look like this. The day Christian donors don't give somebody money, they'll be like, you know what, let the Christians in Nigeria die for all I care. But at the end of the day, on a brighter note, our help does not come from the south or from the east. Help is from the Lord, okay? Help is from the Lord. Like the psalmist say, I will look up to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. That is where our help comes from. Our help does not come from Ted Cruz. Our help does not come from Turning Point USA. Our help does not come from allies in the West. Our help comes from the Lord. Like the scripture says also, except the Lord builds a city, those that build it in vain. Except the Lord watches over a city, the watchmen, they stay awake in vain. If God does not watch over us, we are doomed. If God does not help us, we are doomed. It's not the help does not come from whatever it is that Westerners like to strategize and re-strategize and analyze. Look to God. Fix your eyes on Christ. People always ask me, what is the one thing we can do to help the Christians in Nigeria? And I mean this. It works, and it works. Pray. Pray for Nigerians. Pray for the Nigerian Christians. That is the solution. Pray to God. He hears prayers. Okay? He hears prayers. Of course, there are other things you can do. You can call up your representative. You can do all of that. And I'm saying you should. You can mobilize. You can create awareness. You can get people to really pay attention to all of this. You can do all of that. But at the end of the day, it's God that can help you. Only God can save you. Only God can. Because you can do all of these things and it will amount to nothing. Absolutely nothing. If God is for us, who can be against us? And one thing that I know about Nigerian Christians, and I'm certain, despite how we are slaughtered all day long, despite how people lie to cover up what is happening, despite all the uphill battle that we face, God is for us. God is with us. You know, I want to read something that was said by the Christian Association of Nigerian chairman in Adamawa State. This was kind of like his last word to people who cared about him. He said, "Don't cry, don't worry, but thank God for everything." And that is the optimism that we have as Christians. Thank God for everything. He is in control. He is in control. He is in control. Always in control. Thank him for everything. Give him thanks. His will be done. This man who was beheaded by Boko Haram went to be with his savior. And there is nothing that anyone can do to destroy what is God's. Okay? Like Jesus told us, we should not be afraid of people who can destroy the body, but of him who can destroy both the body and soul. But for us as believers, we know that our soul has been saved. Our soul has been saved. So we are grateful for the one who has saved our souls. So we are not afraid. We are not afraid of, will Ted Cruz be successful or will he not be successful? Will the pressure continue to mount up or will it reduce? Will momentum increase? Will the awareness increase or not? I want it to increase. I'm hoping that there is success. I'm hoping that there will be pressure on the Nigerian government. But even if the Lord is on our side, the Lord is our help. That's all that matters to me. And that is my hope and that is my confidence at the end of the day. And that should be yours too. That should be your hope too. That should be your confidence at the end of the day. Not any of these things. I'm not here crossing my fingers hoping, yes, Ted Cruz succeed. I want him to succeed, but I'm not holding my breath because I know God is in control. And look, like I said again, the best way to help Nigeria is to pray for the nation. Really pray. Pray for Nigeria. Prayer works. I believe strongly that it does. Pray for Nigeria. In fact, that's the first thing you should do. Before picking up the phone and calling your representative in America or in Canada or in the UK, pray for Nigeria. Pray for whatever it is that is wrong in your country. Pray for Israel. I want to thank Olajide Adeoye. Thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I really appreciate you. Thanks to everyone. I am very grateful to have all of you here, and I'm happy that you all get to share this moment with me. I hope to see you again tomorrow, hopefully. And to end this live stream, a word from Candace Owens, of course. A word from Candace Owens. Let me get my word from Candace Owens. Let me load it. Where is that word from Candace Owens? Okay. All right, guys. It was fun. I really appreciate every one of you for hanging with me. Until we meet again, thank you all. Thank you all so, so much. I really appreciate every one of you, every single one. Okay, every one of you. I really appreciate you all. You guys are the best. Okay, I have the best audience in the world. Okay, and that's all of you. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jax. Thank you, Shaka Zulu. Thank you. Thank you, Olajide Adeoye. Thank you, everybody who sent super chat. Thank you, everyone who liked, everyone who commented, everyone who shared the link, everyone who did all the doables and the undoables. Everyone who did all of that, I really thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate you people. And we'll meet again. And Till then, peace.
Oh, there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie. It's a gut thing, okay? I don't know, but I know, okay? I don't know, but I know. What are we to discern from all of this? I'll tell you my take on this. It's a gut thing, okay? I don't know, but I know. Okay? I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing. I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing. I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing, okay? Make it make sense. It's very easy to debunk me, okay? Easy. Super internet, debunk me, okay? Easy. Super internet, debunk me, okay? Very easy. We've got other people that are doing different things, and it is, they do not want us to prod the narrative. So I'm going to assume doesn't make sense to prod the narrative. We've got other people. Doesn't make sense to prod the narrative. We've got other people. Doesn't make sense to prod the narrative. We've got other people that are doing different things. I don't know, but I know. Prod the narrative. I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing. It's over. It's done. Wrap it up.